Okay, so today we're talking about multiplying and dividing integers. 1.7. So the thing that we need to know about multiplying and dividing is really nothing. You've already know how to do multiply and divide integers. The problem that we're going to have is what we're going to come against is when you have something like this. Okay, so when you have a negative multiplied by a negative, you end up with a positive. Okay, if you have a negative multiplied by a positive, you can come with a negative. Positive times a negative, you'll be a negative, and obviously a positive times a positive is going to be a positive, okay? So whenever you have one negative and one positive, it'll be negative. So you have one negative, one positive, so you're also going to be a negative here. Negative times a negative, you're going to have a positive number. Okay, so that's what we need to know. So you're going to do some of the examples here. Example number one. A. We're going to have negative 3 times negative 12, negative 3 times negative 12. So there's a times here, obviously. So we're going to have a negative times a negative, so this will become a positive. And then we have 3 times, it's the same as 3 times 12, which is 36. Okay, B, when you have B, we're going to have negative 7 times 9. Negative times a positive becomes a negative. 7 times 9 is 63. So in C, we have negative 24 times 0. So it'll be negative 24 times 0 is 0. So this is the same as 0. Okay. Example number 2. In example number 2, we have to find the total change in the value of shares of stock described on page 42. The total change is going to be the computer sales times the change in one share. So it's going to be 200 times negative 3. Then we're going to add to that 150 times 2. So the first number is 200 times 3, which is 600, but we have a negative here. This is a positive, so we have negative 600. 2 times 150 is going to be 300. So we add this together, we get negative 300. Okay? Dividing is just the same, okay? It's the same concept. In dividing, when you divide a negative number by a negative number, you'll get a positive number. And if you divide a negative by a positive, it's negative, or a positive by a negative, it's negative. So let's see if we can do example number 3. Example number 3A. We have negative 48 divided by negative 6. Again, we have a negative divided by a negative, so it's going to be positive. So we're going to positive, the same as positive that. So it's going to be 48 over 6, which is the same as 8. On B, we have 56 divided by negative 8. 56 divided by negative 8. We have a positive number divided by a negative number, so we can have a negative number altogether. So it's the same as negative 56 divided by 8, negative 7. Okay, and C, we have 0 divided by 9. Is it positive or negative? It's positive, so 0 divided by any number is 0. So there we go. Just for your information, if I had 9 divided by 0, this would be equal to undefined. You are never allowed to divide by a 0. Okay? Flip the page, go to page 44. Let's see if we can do example number 4. example number 4. Example number 4, we have Antarctic temperatures. The table shows record low monthly temperatures. And we're to find the mean of the temperatures. To find the mean of the temperature, mean is the same. Mean is the same as average. So to find the average, we add them all together and divide by how many numbers there are, right? So if we add them together, we get what? Negative, so we're going to add negative 42 plus negative 59. Then we're going to add negative 57. And then we have 47, 40, negative 19, I believe. 19. So if you add them all together, these are all negative numbers. First of all, so you can actually rewrite this as 42 negative, positive negative is negative. 59, positive negative is negative. Positive negative is negative. Positive negative is negative 40. Positive negative is negative 19. Okay, if you add them all together, you're going to get negative 202, I believe. Negative 264. It's negative 264, and we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 numbers. So you end up doing negative 264 divided by 6. A negative number divided by a positive number. So I'm going to get a negative number. If I divide that, I get 44. Negative 44 was the average temperature, which makes sense. Okay, so let's say that I asked you to multiply negative 2 times negative 4 times negative 8. Okay, so I have 1, 2, 3 negatives. So a negative and a negative becomes a positive. Then we have this positive number times a negative number. So we end up with a negative number. In other words, if you have 3 negatives, it will be negative, negative is positive, then you get negative, so it's going to be negative. Okay? 2 times 4 times 8, so it's negative 2 times 4 times 8, negative 64. So you would get something like that. Okay? And with that, we are done with the lecture for 1.7.